All is not necessarily well in the MAGA family these days, as some are very unhappy with the president and his administration over issues important to them. Foreign wars, possible amnesty for some immigrants, and most notably, Jeffrey Epstein. And it is not just the MAGA base that is riled up. As we mentioned, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is reportedly considering leaving his job, right? The job he has is most likely his absolute dream job of dream jobs, and he's thinking about leaving after a heated confrontation with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the decision not to release any additional Epstein files. A source close to DOJ leaders said the White House is backing Bondi's decision, and a person who spoke with Bongino said the deputy FBI director is, quote, out of control furious and is threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she is fired. The nightcap is still here. Allie, let's just start with you. What in the world is going on, right? There are all sorts of voters out there that care about education, economy, immigration. It is the true MAGA base, in fact, a sliver within the MAGA base that cares so much about Jeffrey Epstein and these files. What in the world do you think is going on?
Well, it's the consequences of their own actions, right? Because we were talking on my show even this morning about how campaigning is really easy and Trump and the MAGA universe has gotten really good at it. But governing is hard. And when you're actually the person who has to go from the podcast seat into the FBI and actually get to see what's there, you'll find that a lot of the reporting that's been out there around the Jeffrey Epstein case has been right, that there was no Epstein client list, that this latest tranche of documents that DOJ put out there in a rush of transparency was actually documents that were out there already. And so that's why you're seeing this sort of mutiny on the part of the MAGA base that wanted to see more from the Jeffrey Epstein files. It's the conspiracy theorists who pushed these theories and now are within government who can no longer stoke them. And we've seen Dan Bongino be someone who went on Fox News, who said that there is no client list, who said that it was a suicide as it was ruled to be. Pam Bondi even left the door open when she was outside of government to continue to stoke some of these conspiracy theories. But again, it's different when you're the one in the hot seat. And so for Bongino, some of the reporting that we've seen out there is that he and the rest of the folks who were involved in this decision, whether it was Pam Bondi at DOJ, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino at FBI, that they were all on the same page when it came to the way that the administration was going to handle this file release, but that when the heat came on, he started to have problems with the way that it was happening. And that's why we saw him not show up to work today, apparently, and now at least contemplating whether or not he's going to leave his job. But this is just one schism in a lot of other schisms that you were just talking about.
I can't wait to hear from both of you, gentlemen. Doug is shaking his head and Michael is laughing. I'm just thinking back, early days of this administration, it was Pam Bondi herself that was hyping this thing. What do you think's going on, Mike?
Well, first of all, if Bongino leaves, it'll be a fantastic day for the FBI. I've got a labradoodle here who's more qualified for that job. He was a talk radio conspiracy guy trying to turn crazy talk into dollars, but the Trump casting call goes right for those kind of people, and that's the problem for the government. So now this Epstein thing is like the lost city of Atlantis for part of MAGA. So his head's exploding, having been on both sides of the conspiracy. You know, Bondi, for all her shortcomings, at least was a state AG. You know, so on the scale, I think if he's not just threatening for noise, he'll be gone, and that'll be just fine. You know, I have no idea what the reality is. I tend to believe the law enforcement folks, but in the MAGA world, conspiracies are powerful, and if you deny them, you then automatically become part of the conspiracy, and it grows. This is, again, performative government rather than fact-based government, and that's the curse of this era.
But, Mike, if Dan Bongino were to leave, you think a more normal person would replace him?
Well, you know, you have to grade on a curve here. So we might go from 5-star crazy to 3-star, and I guess you declare victory on that. But no, I don't think they're going to find Elliot Ness. They will comb MAGA noise world for somebody else. But that's the reality we're in. The bottom line is he's massively unqualified. He's a nut. And now he's having a nut reaction. And maybe he's thinking, you know, I got to get back into the radio conspiracy podcasting world and make some money. And I'm not going to give up the milk cow of the Epstein, the chariots of the gods, Eric Von Däniken, Lost City of Atlantis, crazy stuff, because it pays well. I mean, I don't know the guy. I don't know what he's thinking, but they leaked this. I think he's looking for an exit strategy for whatever reason, and I'm happy he found one.
Doug, what do you think of all this?
Look, I agree with everything Mike just said. I also think that we're dealing with people that have the temperament of a 4-year-old, and they want their way. They want it now. They don't want to do anything else, and it's a real problem. They just will pitch a fit. That shows you how unqualified that Bongino is, that I think Patel is, because even today, there's reports out today of the fact that the FBI is giving lie detector tests to agents to make sure that they are loyal to the president and will do his bidding. Yet this is one of the premier law enforcement agencies of the world that is now becoming a laughingstock because of who is running the show and how they have chilled any dissent. And so, look, I think that whatever happens, they are fueling conspiracy theories on both the left and the right. Trust me, I can see the theories coming out now about this that from the left that, oh, my God, the reason that they're not doing it, they're deep six and all of this, because Donald Trump's in the middle of all this. And we do have the pictures, by the way, to show that he was at least friends with Jeffrey Epstein. So, look, this is just more unqualified chaos from unqualified members of an administration.